Hi guys, this is Hirosaki. This story is all about what if Naruto was a Pokemon master wannabe. Naruto is a young trainer who wishes to become a Pokemon master. With his trusty Cyndaquil by his side, can he overcome the challenges he will face and make his dream a reality? Before we start, kindly like and subscribe to this channel and look over the description box for the author of this amazing storyline. Welcome aboard! Chapter 4, The Root of All Evil. Naruto and Kiba stared at one another, their partners, Growlithe and Kalava, doing the same. So, how's the journey? Bet you haven't even beaten the gym leader here yet, Kiba sneered. Naruto's eyes twitched in annoyance before he reached into one of his backpack's smaller pockets and retrieved his badge case. He opened it and showed Kiba the shining silver badge. Does this answer your statement? Naruto said. Kiba growled as clenched his fist. No way you could get a badge before me, the canine trainer growled. Growlithe barked in support of his trainer. Well, believe it, asshole, Naruto retorted, and then he and Kalava began to take steps around the canine trainer. Now if you excuse me, I have to go to Azalea Town to fight the gym leader there. However, as he was about to move, Kiba stood in his way. Battle me, he stated. Naruto's cerulean eyes narrowed before trying to walk around, but Kiba still blocked his way. Kiba-san, it is better you do not confront Naruto right now. It would be most unfortunate if you were to go to the Pokémon Center after just arriving in Violet City before your gym battle. Nah, this will only take a second, Shino, Kiba replied to his travel partner. Naruto gritted his teeth as he took a step back and looked at Kalava. Fine, but don't be surprised when I wipe the floor with you and your pup, Naruto said. Kiba smirked. As if you could beat Akamaru, the Growlithe barked before baring its teeth. Quilava's flames ignited themselves as the volcano Pokemon prepared for battle. And Naruto-kun, maybe you shouldn't battle. I mean, we're about to leave, Hinata said. Don't worry, Hinata-chan. This won't take long, Naruto said with a thumbs up. The Hyuga sighed, sometimes her crush could not be deterred from things. Kalava and Growlithe tensed their limbs, preparing for when their trainers gave them the command to charge. Naruto paused as he watched over Growlithe while Kiba was beginning to get impatient as Naruto didn't even make a move. That's it, Akamaru attack. Use Bite. The orange dog Pokemon lunged and bared its fangs at its fellow fire type, but Kalava jumped back. Growlithe lunged again and Kalava once again dodged without need for a command. Naruto continued to study his opponent as he remembered his mother's words. Do not charge straight into a battle. Sometimes that can lead to your downfall, like I did when I was your age. Study the opponent and find an opening. Then you strike, the words echoed in his mind. Kushina Uzumaki was one damn good Pokemon trainer and Naruto was proud that she was his mother. He remembered what he could about Growlithe. Growlithe, fire type. Ability, Flash Fire, which increases the power of Growlithe's attacks when it is hit from fire-type moves, so Ember's a no-go. He mumbled to continue to study his opponent. Growlithe barked as it lunged once with a bite. Then Naruto saw it. Akamaru, bite again. Kiba howled. The Growlithe howled as it charged and then Naruto attacked. Kalava duck and then quick attack. Naruto yelled. The volcano Pokemon nodded before laying his body flat on the ground, avoiding his opponent's strike, causing the dog Pokemon to tumble on the ground. Kalava turned around and charged, slamming full force into Growlithe's down form. Akamaru stood up once more. Akamaru, Ember. The orange dog complied and released a barrage of small fireballs from its mouth. Kalava, use Ember too. The fireballs launched themselves from Quilava's jaws and clashed with his opponent's attack. The small explosion formed resulted in a smoke cloud. Kalava, quick attack. And the Pokemon charged, leaving a trail of color behind it. Akamaru dodge and then use bite. Kiba commanded. The Growlithe leaped to the side and then jumped, stabbing his teeth into Quilava's back. Quill. The Pokémon shouted in pain before rolling on the ground to try and get the enemy Pokémon off. After a few more rolls, the Growlithe got dizzy and let go, but the puncture marks remained. Blood oozed a bit from the wound, but the volcano Pokémon didn't pay attention to it. That's it. Naruto yelled, Kalava use smokescreen and then charge in with a tackle. A black cloud of smoke obscured Growlithe's vision before the Pokémon was struck down by a powerful full-body tackle, sending the Pokémon rolling to the ground. Another tackle followed right after the first, and then a final third strike had Akamaru soaring through the air before falling at Kiba's feet. Akamaru stood back on his feet, but his legs wobbled as he tried to muster the strength to remain standing. Kiba-kun, stop, Akamaru is wounded and Naruto-kun, why you should heal Kalava. He's bleeding from the bite attack, Hinata said to the boys. Naruto looked at his partner and nodded before kneeling down to Kalava. Gomen for pushing you while you were this wounded. You okay, buddy? Naruto asked. Kalava nodded, but winced when the wound began to sting. Kiba-san, come, we must heal Akamaru. Kiba nodded to Shino and picked up his partner. The two trainers headed to the Pokémon Center and their travel companions watched them as they began to make a little race as to who would reach the center first. Hinata and Shino sweat dropped. They sure are a hyper duo, Shino said. They sure are, Hinata sighed. So, Hinata-san, how are you? The bug trainer asked as Spinarak crawled across his body. I am fine. Naruto-kun has been helping me get my stuttering down and it's working. Also I caught a Scentret and a sea caterpie, she said. Shino nodded to the Hyuga. I can see that, and I heard about contest. You did well to make it to the semi-finals on your first try. Arigato, Shino-kun, Hinata smiled. Shino-kun? Shino turned to the pale-shinned girl, hi? If I isn't any tea trouble, would you mind telling me where one can find a good tea to them, because I need one for Eevee because she doesn't have much appeal moves, Hinata said. Shino thought for a while before snapping his fingers. There is a shop in Goldenrod City, a large mall complex actually. It might have just what you're looking for, Hinata nodded, and the two turned as they heard Naruto and Kiba yelling at each other again. The blonde trainer and his brown-haired rival had healed their Pokémon and they returned to their travel partners. All healed up? Shino asked. Yup, Akamaru's rearing to kick some gym leader, but Kiba grinned. The puppy Pokémon barked and panted in agreement. Is Kalava alright? She asked. Naruto gave a thumbs up to Hinata. However, just as Hinata and Naruto were about to leave for Azalea Town, Kiba called out Naruto. Yo, next time we meet, I'm gonna kick your ass, Kiba said. Naruto stuck his tongue out. Don't hold your breath, dog boy, Naruto countered. Kiba fumed as Shino pushed him away towards the Violet City gym. Hinata-san, take good care of that caterpie, and Naruto, just a heads up, the gym leader in Azalea Town is not to be taken lightly, Shino said to them. Naruto and Hinata nodded before walking down to Route 31. Naruto then spied a little tree up ahead and picked the small yellow orb hanging from its branch. What is this, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked, showing her the odd fruit, if you could call it that. That's a yellow apricot. It's something that some people use to make pokeballs, Hinata informed her blonde companion. Whoa, Naruto gasped as he showed the yellow apricot to Kalava and Eevee. Naruto threw the apricot in one of the smaller pockets of his bag, and then he and Hinata and their partners were about to continue when they were interrupted, again. Hey Hinata, Naruto. Both trainers sighed to each other. We can never get 2 steps without being called out, Naruto said. The blue-haired girl and the spiky-haired blonde looked up to see one of the unpaid interns Professor Irika hired to help with his lab work. The young man panted as he carried a large backpack with him. Once he caught his breath, the intern looked up and gently rested the backpack on the ground. Naruto, Hinata, Professor Irika sent me. He said he wanted to give these 2 gifts to you, all the intern said as he opened the bag. The lab coat-wearing man pulled out 2 glass cylinders which were quite warm to the touch, about room temperature. In each cylinder was a Pokémon egg. One being the one the 2 young trainers had gotten from Mr. Pokémon earlier before, while the second one was a different-looking egg. Hinata received the one from Mr. Pokémon, the cream-colored egg which had blue and red triangles imprinted across its shell. Naruto's egg, on the other hand, was a pale blue color with a few white stripes separating the blue color into 4 sections. These are... Naruto gaped. These are PP Pokémon eggs. Hinata exclaimed. Suddenly Hinata's pants released a ringing sound, nearly making her drop her egg. She reacted quickly and caught it before handing the cylinder to the intern and taking out her Pokér. The phone app was being used as she saw the caller ID. Professor, what are you calling F for? Hinata asked as she put the Pokér on speakerphone. Ah, Hinata, good to hear you. I trust you and Naruto got my gifts? The man asked. Hi, the 2 trainers replied. Though why aren't you studying them in your lab, and where did you get that second egg? I thought you only had one. Naruto asked. The second one was a gift from Professor Sarutobi, and he said to give it to a young trainer who I saw worthy to receive it. Hopefully both eggs have rare Pokémon when they hatch. As for why they are not in the lab, I realized from my studies that the eggs wouldn't hatch if they were cooped up in my lab. It has been said that Pokémon eggs hatch when a certain mileage has been covered. Some even say the number of steps the carrier of the egg takes is how long it takes for the egg to hatch, Irika said. Hinata and Naruto stared at the Pokér before looking at each other and then back to the lavender-colored machine. Well, good luck you two. Call me or come to my lab when the eggs have hatched. I await your feedback, the professor said before hanging up. Hinata pocketed her Pokér and then took back her egg from the intern. Well, good luck, have fun carrying those eggs. They're slightly heavy due to the cylinders, but they'll hatch soon and then you can get rid of them, hopefully, the intern said before picking up the now empty backpack and walked away back to the lab. Naruto and Hinata held their eggs and then smiled at each other. Looks like we're gonna be parents, Naruto joked. Hinata blushed as she heard what Naruto said. Parents, me and Naruto-kun, she willed herself not to faint and succeeded before her blush went down. Now come on, let's pack these things away and continue to Azalea Town, Naruto said as he put away his egg in his backpack, taking up much of the room of the large main baggage area. Hinata did the same and the 2 then set out. The 2 walked through the tall grass looking for any trainers or wild Pokémon that might appear. Suddenly a green blur crashed into Hinata, causing the girl to be knocked over. Naruto quickly reacted and caught her. Hey, watch where you're going! Naruto yelled. Kalaba and Eevee looked at their trainers as they saw Naruto help steady the blue-black-haired girl. Goman, a female voice said, I was talking to my boyfriend and I didn't see where I was going. Hey, you 2 are cute together, are you guys a couple? Naruto and Hinata blushed profusely as they shook their heads no before noticing the girl's get-up. She looked much like a Girl Scout who sold cookies, but she was much too old to be a Girl Scout, wasn't she? Hey, you guys, have Pokémon? Maybe in exchange for rudely interrupting my call with my boyfriend, Girly here can battle me, the picnicker said. Hinata was caught off guard by the sudden challenge. So, you want a battle or not, Hinata-chan? Naruto asked. Hinata was a bit dazed for a second as she comprehended what just occurred before replying. Hi, let's battle, she said softly before taking out a Pokeball. Alright, name's Liz, by the way, Allison said. The picnicker took out her Pokeball and threw it. The red and white sphere opened up and the white light that was released from it solidified, forming a small rodent of some sort. It was pale blue in color with purple-colored skin covering its inner ear. It had 2 whiskers on either side of its face and beady black eyes. 2 large incisor teeth protruded from its mouth, making it look similar to a rattata and covered with small barbs or points. The Pokémon was a female Nidoran. Let's how your EV stands up to my Nidoran, Allison said with a confident smirk. Hinata looked at Eevee and shook her head when she saw her normal type gearing up for battle. The evolution Pokemon looked confused at her trainer before sitting obediently as her trainer threw the Pokeball. Metapod, go! She yelled. The green shell of a Pokemon appeared in a flash of white light as the Pokeball returned to Hinata's hand. When did you evolve your Caterpie, Hinata? Naruto asked. She evolved yesterday after I did some last-minute training for the contest, the Paleite girl explained. Allison smirked at the bug of a Pokemon before smirking. Too easy, Nidoran use Poison Sting. Liz commanded. The blue Nidoran nodded before releasing a storm of small purple needles from its body, all directed at Metapod. Metapod. Hinata gasped as her Pokemon was hit by the attack, sending it skidding backwards. The Metapod glared at her opponent before stamping its little stubby foot on the grass. Use Tackle. Hinata commanded. She charged and slammed into Nidoran, sending the blue rodent flying through the air. Nidoran flipped in the air before landing on her feet. Use Double Kick. Allison yelled to her Pokemon. The Nidoran charged and lashed out with its front legs to kick with them, but Hinata had a different idea. Use String Shot and wrap up Nidoran's legs. Nidoran was suddenly wrapped up in white silk from the tip of Metapod's shell, slowing her down. Now use Hardened. Metapod was suddenly took on toughened look as her shell hardened, raising her defense stat. The double kick hit, but it didn't do much damage since her legs were currently wrapped up and hardened prevented much damage from being done. Now Metapod use Tackle, Hinata yelled. The cocoon Pokemon charged and slammed full force into Nidoran, sending her rolling along the grass before she was wrapped up by Metapod's string shot once more. Your Nidoran is immobilized, I suggest you surrender, Hinata said. Liz frowned as she watched her struggling Pokemon. Fine, I yield, Allison said. Naruto gave a whoop for Hinata's win before Metapod suddenly began to glow. Hinata looked at her Pokédex and smiled when she saw Metapod had escalated in terms of level from level 8 to level 10. The blue bar that represented experience points stopped at the 3/4 mark between level 10 and level 11. Metapod suddenly began to crack along the midrib of its shell and the shell split open in half. A glowing white being was inside the shell of that was the cocoon Pokemon. When the shell completely fell apart, the light died down and a large purple butterfly floated in the air. The butterfly Pokemon was about half the size of her trainer and had large red eyes. Two long antennae grew from its head and a pair of white wings with black outlining them fluttered behind her. Hinata whipped out her lavender Pokédex as it beeped. Butterfree, the butterfly Pokemon. A bug/flying type Pokemon and the evolved form of Metapod. Water repellent powder on its wings enables it to collect honey, even in the heaviest of rains. Butterfree's eyes suddenly glowed a soft blue color before lifting up Nidoran with psychic energy and released it from its bindings. You evolved and learned Seek Infusion. Hinata grinned at her Pokemon. The bug/flying type released a shrill free of glee as she flew around her trainer. Allison returned Nidoran to her Pokeball before walking up to Hinata. Hey, girlie. Good battle. Hinata smiled as she shook hands with Allison. It's Hinata. Hinata told the picnicker her name. Liz nodded before taking out her forest green Pokegear. Hey, Hinata, I'd challenge you to another battle one day when my Nidoran is stronger. What do you say, wanna exchange numbers? Hinata smiled and nodded. I'd like that. Hinata then took out her Pokegear and the two trainers exchanged numbers and Allison left with a wave. Hinata took out her new Butterfree's Pokeball and recalled her to the sphere. Well, Hinata-chan, that was an awesome battle and you got Metapod to evolve. Naruto congratulated his friend. Quill Kalava. EVE. Hinata smiled at the two Pokemon. Arigato, and with that the two continued walking through Route 31. They walked through the grass for about 20 minutes and stopped for a bite to eat as they were getting a bit hungry. Once they finished eating their lunch, they packed their things and were ready to hit the road when they all heard the sound of someone screaming. The group ran towards the source of the scream and looked to see a man wearing a red and white outfit and holding a fishing rod. He was obviously a fisherman, but he was smoking and was twitching in pain as electrical charge surged throughout his being. "Hey mister, you okay?" Naruto asked as he bent down to observe the man. "Yeah," the man said as he still spasmed. "What happened?" Hinata asked. Hinata looked at her partner and saw the brown and white dog Pokémon gesturing to their front. Hinata looked in front of them and saw a small sheep-like Pokémon. It was a dark blue color with coal-black eyes. It was covered in yellow wool all over its body and atop its head. At the tip of its tail was a golden sphere that seemed to shine as blue electricity surged through it. "That happened," the fisherman growled as he pointed at the Mareep. "Name's Roy, by the way, anyways, was sitting here not doing a thing when I spotted the Mareep. I waved to say hello, but then the thing used frickin' Thundershock on me." Naruto smirked as he stood up and took out a Pokeball, knowing Kalava was a bit too strong for this battle. A wild Pokemon with a bit of a spark to it. "Great, I'm gonna catch it," Naruto said as he increased the size of his Pokeball with a press of the center button. "Good luck, kid, you'll need it." "That thing packs a punch," Roy said as he stood off to the side with Hinata. Naruto threw the Pokeball in the air. "Go Rattata!" Naruto yelled, sending out one his weaker Pokemon to fight. The purple rat Pokemon hissed as he looked at the sheep Pokemon. The electric-type Pokemons will suddenly began to become filled with electricity. Mareep! A bolt of blue lightning flew from its tail and towards Rattata. "Rattata, dodge it quick!" Naruto commanded. The little Pokemon jumped to the side. "Now use focus energy and then tackle." Rattata's eyes closed for a few seconds as his muscles suddenly tensed, focusing all its energy into his leg muscles. The male rodent Pokemon's eyes then snapped open before it raced towards Mareep and tackled it. The Mareep skidded backwards before it released a bolt of blue lightning from its tail once more, and this time the attack struck home. Rattata screamed in pain before shaking its head side to side to clear his head. "Rattata, us quick attack!" Naruto commanded the Pokemon. Rattata rushed towards the sheep Pokemon and crashed into it. The Mareep let out a cry of pain before it twisted and slapped its tail across Rattata's snout. Rattata flew back from the physical retaliation. The purple rat glared at his opponent, but suddenly froze as electrical charge coated his body. In Naruto-kun, Rattata was paralyzed from the Thundershock. Kyuso Naruto cursed as he saw Rattata get struck by another Thundershock. Rattata panted before fainting. Naruto returned Rattata to the Pokeball before throwing another one. "Metapod, you're up," Naruto said. The cocoon Pokemon formed from out of the light of the Pokeball. Metapod said in a monotone. "Use tackle," he ordered. Metapod complied and raced towards the Mareep. Mareep seemed to smirk before jumping out of the way and twisted its body as electrical energy gathered in the orb at the tip of its tail. The tail slammed right into the body of metal as Mareep let loose a strong thundershock. Metapod cried out in shock as he was sent flying through the air. Metapod used string shot to grab onto Mareep, Naruto said. Metapod shot out a thread of strong silk fibers and it attached itself to Mareep's cheek. Metapod landed on the ground before twisting and swing Mareep into a nearby tree. "Good job, Metapod. Now use tackle," Naruto yelled. The cocoon Pokemon slammed full force into the sheep Pokemon and then backed off as Naruto returned him to the Pokeball as he withdrew an empty one. "You're mine," Naruto roared as he threw the red and white sphere. The Pokeball impacted with Mareep's head and then the Pokeball sucked Mareep in as its body was converted into red energy. The Pokeball shook once to the left, once to the right, and then it shook a third time. The Pokeball then released a small, yet audible click. "Yada, I got Mareep." Naruto cheered as he hugged Kalava. The fire type smiled at his trainer, happy that he was able to gain a new team member. The Pokeball then vanished in a white light as it was transferred to Naruto's PC since he had 6 Pokémon with him. Naruto then whipped out his orange Pokédex as it released a beeping sound telling him of his newest catch's information. Mareep the Wool Pokémon. An electric-type static electricity builds in its body, its fleece doubles in volume. Touching it will shock you. It can also store electricity within the orb on the end of its tail. Naruto then looked at Hinata and Eevee. You two wait here, I'm just gonna go run back to the Pokemon Center and deposit Spinarak for Mareep. Come on Kalava. The fire type ran alongside his trainer towards the Pokemon Center. Hinata giggled at her friend's antics. He's a boisterous one, isn't he? Roy chuckled. Hinata nodded. Hi, he aims to beat the Pokemon League and become the champion, Hinata said to Roy. The fisherman nodded. A lot of kids these days aim for the league, like I used to. Say Gaki. Hinata turned to Roy and he withdrew a Pokeball. Seeing as your friend's gonna take a while, how's about a battle? I'm feeling a bit nostalgic seeing you Gakis going on a journey to catch Pokemon. Hinata nodded as she looked at Eevee and the normal type yipped as she took to the front, sure. Alright, I got only 3 Pokemon that I just caught, Roy said as he threw the Pokeball. Go Magikarp. Hinata sweat dropped when the flash of light ended and revealing the red-scaled fish which had a large pair of blank-looking eyes. The fish flopped around on the land before hopping into the water. Carp Magikarp. Beware its power. Roy exclaimed as he pointed to one of the weakest Pokemon in the world. Hinata and Eevee looked at each other and then back at the Magikarp as it just splashed around in the water. Okay. Eevee use tackle. Hinata cried. Eevee nodded and charged forth, bashing her head into the Magikarps. The fish flew back as Eevee performed a backflip after her collision so that she wouldn't land in the water. The Magikarp seemed to fume as it leaped into the air towards Eevee. Dodge it and then tackle again, Eevee did as she was told and leaped to the side as Magikarp landed on dry land and was slammed by Eevee's body, sending it sprawling at Roy's feet. Hinata took out her Pokédex as she saw the little experience point bar go up and smiled, and when Eevee had reached level 14. The fisherman growled as he returned Magikarp to its ball. You got lucky there, but faced the wrath of the fishes. Go Magikarp. Roy yelled, avenge thy brethren with splash. Magikarp hopped around and both trainers and Eevee sweat dropped at the stupidity of it all. Eevee, use T-Tackle, Hinata commanded. Eevee nodded and charged, knocking into the Magikarp multiple times before sending the red fish into the water with a final tackle. That's 2 down. Damn Gaki, you're good, Roy said. Hinata chuckled nervously. Is he serious? He has Magikarp? Now if they were Gyarados I'd be in trouble, Hinata thought. Eevee and Hinata watched as Roy released his third and final Pokemon. The Pokeball snapped open and in a flash of white light, a Pokemon that wasn't a Magikarp appeared out of the ball. The Pokemon was a blue-colored blowfish with a yellow underbelly and had pink puffed-out lips. Qwilfish, Poison Sting. Roy commanded. The blowfish Pokemon nodded and then released a string of poisonous needles which were avoided by Eevee. Hinata then told Eevee to run close to the edge of the slow-moving river which Qwilfish was currently occupying. Use Sand Attack. Hinata yelled. Eevee nodded and swished her tail against the ground, kicking a lot of dust and lowered the accuracy of Qwilfish as the dust covered its eyes. Qwilfish, dive down and then use Water Gun to get rid of the sand cloud, Roy said. The water type complied with its trainer and then dove down into the river before firing a jet of pressurized water from its mouth. The attack scattered the dust cloud before Qwilfish jumped out of the water. Poison Sting. Roy ordered. The Pokemon nodded and fired multiple poisonous darts from its puffed mouth. Eevee dodge it and then use Tackle. The blue-haired girl told her Pokemon. Eevee jumped back as the poison sting hit her previous location before rushing the airborne Pokemon. Be sure to hit the underbelly, there are no poisonous barbs there.
Hinata informed her Pokémon.
The evolution Pokémon nodded and then leaped, crashing headfirst into Qwilfish's underbelly. The wind was knocked out of the Pokémon's gills and it was sent flying through the air before slamming straight a conveniently placed rock. The Qwilfish slid down the rock formation, but continued to swim albeit it was a bit tired.
Eevee panted from fighting for so long and Hinata knew she should wrap this up quick. Qwilfish use water gun, Roy told his Pokémon.
Eevee was a bit tired and as such she lagged in her dodge and was hit on her hind leg, sending her sprawling on the ground.
Water gun again. The water Pokémon complied and fired off another water bullet.
The attack struck and Eevee panted as she rose back to her feet.
Eevee, our return. Hinata called out to her tired Pokémon.
Eevee panted and turned to her trainer to tell her she wanted to keep fighting, but when she Hinata's calculating gaze, she complied and walked back and fell to the ground, tired.
Hinata's pale eyes widened as she realized something about Qwilfish and took out her Pokeball. Butterfree, go! Hinata yelled as she threw the Pokeball.
The butterfly Pokémon appeared in a flash of white light.
Confusion.
The psychic move caused an unknown force to suddenly strike the Qwilfish and due to it being part poison, the attack was super effective.
I forgot that Qwilfish are dual-type Pokémon and they are part poison, though the poison sting should have been a big hint, she mumbled to herself.
The balloon Pokémon released a cry of pain as the move struck it and sent it flying towards a trainer.
Roy quickly raised his Pokeball and recalled the Qwilfish to its Pokeball.
Hinata watched as the experience points for both Butterfree and Eevee rose and Butterfree grew to level 11 and Eevee's bar stopped halfway between level 14 and 15. Hinata pulled out a potion and quickly healed her starter before putting away the healing item.
Good fight Gaki, Roy said. Nice job, Hinata-chan, Naruto said as he and Kalaba appeared from the grass.
The blue-black-haired girl looked in surprise as she saw her crush.
YUS saw that? She asked.
Hell yeah, that was awesome how you picked up on Qwilfish's weakness and easily defeated it with confusion.
Butterfree's gonna be a strong Pokémon, just like Eevee. Kalaba the volcano Pokémon agreed with his trainer.
Butterfree's eyes became upside down while Eevee smiled to show their happiness at being praised. Hinata thanked the blonde and returned the purple butterfly to her Pokeball.
So, and Naruto-kun, how's Mareep? Hinata asked. Naruto took out the electric type's Pokeball.
It's at level 10, so it only knows Tackle, Growl and Thundershock so far, but I'm gonna find some trainers to battle. Hopefully there are some water-type or flying-type trainers around, Naruto said. Roy thought for a moment before snapping his fingers. He gained the two preteens and their Pokemon's attention. There's actually a little bridge going from here across this river.
My old fishing buddies, Henry, Justin and Ralph are along that bridge. There are also a few other trainers after the bridge.
I'm sure you'll get a good chance to train your Mareep from those guys.
Really? Naruto asked.
Roy nodded and then walked towards his bag and pulled out 2 extra old rods.
Here you go, you too.
In case you want to catch a few water types, you can use these old rods. They're not as good as a good rod or a super rod, but you'll catch a few decent Pokemon like Magikarp and Tentacool. They also retract for easy storage, Roy explained as he pressed a little button causing the lengthy rod to shrink to the size of a 30 cm ruler. Roy was suddenly enveloped in a hug from the blonde preteen.
Arigato, Roy-san, Naruto yelled as he and Hinata took their rods and packed them away.
The fisherman chuckled and ruffled the boy's head.
Sure thing, Gaki. Good luck in becoming the champion. Naruto gave his new friend a thumbs up. You got it. Ikuzo, Hinata-chan. Naruto yelled as he and Kalaba ran up ahead and turned onto the bridge. Naruto-kun, and Mateo.
She called out to the hyperactive boy as she and Eevee ran after them.
Roy shook his head as he watched the two kids these days.
Naruto and Kalaba ran along the bridge before spotting a fisherman sitting on the edge of the lengthy bridge.
"Oi, fisherman!" Naruto called out.
The fisherman turned and spotted the young boy.
"What do you want, Gaki?" the man asked. "Are you Henry?"
he asked as Hinata and Eevee caught up to him and his starter.
Henry narrowed his eyes. "Yeah, what of it?"
"Your friend Roy tells me you're a good person to train Pokémon with. So, I was wondering if you interested in a battle," Naruto said as he held up Maripe's Pokeball.
Fisherman Henry grinned as he lay his fishing rod down. "Sure thing, Gaki.
But careful, but water types are anything but weak."
"And Naruto-kun, don't be as surprised when Ichi pulls out a Magikarp," Hinata whispered. Naruto nodded and smirked. "Magikarp are gonna be easy to defeat, especially with my new little electric type," Naruto thought. "Hey, Henry, what's going on over there?" another voice called. The two children and one adult turned to see another fisherman, wearing the same outfit as Roy and Henry. Why do they all have the same outfit? Naruto thought.
"Yo, Justin, this little Gaki here wants to battle me," Henry told his friend, Justin.
"Oh, you're Justin. Great, hey, how about a double battle then?" Naruto suggested as he looked at Hinata. The now less timid Hyuga took a step forward as they looked at Justin and Henry. "Not a bad idea, so what are your names?"
the two fishermen asked.
Naruto Uzumaki. H. Hinata Hyuga. "Alright then, Naruto, Hinata. Prepare to be defeated," Justin said as both he and Henry pulled out a Pokeball. "Go Magikarp!"
the two older trainers cried out. The red and white orbs opened to release the two fishes.
Naruto and Hinata sent out their Pokémon.
"Maripe, you're up." And the electric type wool Pokémon appeared in a flash of light as Eevee took her place up on the battlefield. Maripe, the yellow wool-covered Pokémon, cried out.
Its coat expanded as electricity charged through it. "Eevee, tackle!" Hinata told her Pokémon. "Maripe, Thundershock!" Naruto commanded.
Eevee rushed one Magikarp, sending it flying before two bolts of blue electricity surged through the air and struck both water types. The move was super effective and knocked them both out. The little blue bars of experience points rose on the screens of the Pokédex ES as the two trainers watched them. "Grr, lucky shot," Justin growled before the two fishermen recalled their Magikarp.
"Let's see how handle these Magikarp," Henry yelled as they sent out their other two fish Pokémon. "Use tackle!" they cried.
The two red-scaled fish flopped along the bridge and splashed into the water. Suddenly the two Pokémon began to swim at fast speeds through the river and jumped into the air.
"Maripe, use growl!" Naruto commanded.
The wool Pokémon released a cry that caused the two pre-evolved forms of Gyarados to lose their attack and suddenly flop on the bridge as they slapped both enemy Pokémon in the face.
"Eevee, tackle them both!"
And the normal type complied, sending both fish Pokémon flying through the air and smacking into their trainers' respective faces. "Itai," they cried out as the fish slipped slowly down, their faces showing them to be red with anger and pain.
"That's it, no more fooling around," Henry said as he and Justin recalled their Magikarp. "These Magikarp are much stronger than our other ones." The two fishermen sent out their final Magikarps into the water. "Use tackle!" Henry commanded his own. "You use tackle too, Magikarp!" Justin cried.
The two weak fish Pokémon jumped out of the water to attack their opponents only to be shot down by twin bolts of blue lightning, courtesy of Maripe's Thundershock. "Alright, good job Maripe, you're at level 11. Maripe let out a cry of happiness as it heard it had grown stronger. "You too, Eevee," she said as her starter grew to level 15 and had learned Growl. The two fishermen then left, rather depressed, and returned to fishing for some stronger Pokémon so they could beat the two children. Naruto and Hinata then ran along the bridge for a few meters before coming up to another fisherman.
Yo, Blondie! The fisherman called out. Naruto looked to see the fisherman run over to him and Hinata and their starters. Hi? Naruto asked. Name's Ralph, you look like you're bored. How's about a battle? Fisherman Ralph asked. Naruto readily complied and brought out his electric type. Ralph was easily defeated as his 4 Magikarp were all knocked out from a single Thundershock to each and Mareep grew to level 13. Damn kid, you're tough. Say how's about we exchange numbers? When I train some more, I'll give you a call so we can battle again. Naruto thought for a while before nodding and took out his Pokegear and registered the man in his contacts. After the battle, Naruto and Hinata came across the name of Cameron, who took pictures of trainers and their teams. Thinking it would be fun, the 2 preteens released their Pokémon and took a few pictures. Excellent photos. Would like to have them? Cameron asked. Hinata and Naruto took their pictures and left the photographer. After that, Hinata has taken on a youngster trainer by the name of Gordon. Go Rattata! The boy cried out. Butterfree, you're up. Hinata said. Naruto noted that whenever Hinata battled, her stuttering and nervousness would go away except when she was just speaking normally. Interesting, the blonde thought as he saw Butterfree use confusion on the small purple rodent. The blast of telekinetic energy sent the Rattata flying, but it backflipped in midair and kicked off of the tree it was about to slam into. Now use quick attack. The Rattata took off at a rapid pace. Use string shot to slow it down. Hinata cried. Free Butterfree released multiple strings of sticky silk from her mouth and it wrapped the Rattata and also slowed it down as the attack slammed into her. Butterfree recovered before, by her trainer's orders, countered with a tackle attack. The full body slam sent Rattata skidding backwards before he was raised into the air by an unseen force. Butterfree's eyes glowed a startling blue. Confusion! Hinata yelled and her Pokémon sent the rodent flying into its trainer's arms with a blast of telekinetic energy. The rodent fell unconscious and Butterfree's experience rose up. Hinata grinned widely as she saw Butterfree grow to level 12. Suddenly an option box came up on the Pokédex's screen. Your Butterfree would like to learn the following moves: Stun Spore, Sleep Powder, and Poison Powder. Which moves would you like to learn? Hinata used the directional pad on the Pokédex and chose Sleep Powder and Poison Powder as they were the best options out of the 3 since Stun Spore would only paralyze and Pokémon could still strike back when paralyzed. Your Pokémon can only know 4 moves, please select the 2 moves you would like to forget. Hinata chose to forget Harden and String Shot from her Pokémon's move set and suddenly a blue beam of energy flew from the Pokédex. The energy beam phased through Butterfree's skull and into the memory area of her brain where she stored the ability to use moves. The beam quickly acted by removing the ability to use String Shot and Harden in battle and replaced them with the ability to excrete the dangerous powders from her wings. Gee, good job, Butterfree! The dual-type insect gave a happy cry in return. Growling, you got lucky, girl. No way I'm gonna lose to a girl. Go Pidgey! And the flying-type Pokémon was sent out. Hinata quickly reached to her belt where she held her Pokeballs. She recalled Butterfree knowing that the flying-type moves would easily take out her Pokémon and then sent out her Sentret. Go and use Scratch! She commanded. The Sentry Pokémon leapt it into the air and flipped before bringing down his claws. The claws slashed against the tiny bird's skull, sending it to the ground. A few feathers floated down as the attack plucked them from the normal/flying type's head, leaving a little bald spot. Pidgey, use Tackle! Gordon commanded his Pokémon. The feathered Pokémon sped through the air and slammed full force against the level 7 normal type. Sentret rolled on the ground as it had used Defense Curl to raise his defense and survive the powerful strike. Quick attack! Hinata commanded. The normal type let out a battle cry before crashing into the Pidgey, but Pidgey quickly countered with a tackle. Now Pidgey used Sand Attack.
And a small cloud of dust blinded the sentry Pokémon before Sentret was hit by a powerful tornado courtesy of Pidgeyscust.
Now Sentret, return.
Hinata recalled her normal type before sending out her other one.
Eevee used Tackle. Hinata commanded and the attack crashed into Pidgey's body, sending it back. Now follow up with a tail slam. Eevee jumped into the air and spun, slapping his tail against Pidgey's face.
Pidgey shook its head as it felt its head spin, but was suddenly knocked back into a tree by Eevee's follow-up tackle. The tiny bird Pokémon slid down to the ground, swirls in its eyes as it fainted. The experience points shot up for both of Hinata's Pokémon and Sentret grew to level 8, while Eevee remained at level 15.
"Cuso, can't believe I lost to a girl," Gordon grumbled as he returned his Pidgey to its Pokeball and ran down the road.
As the two preteens headed along the path, Kalava had spotted something shiny and ran towards it. Naruto, Hinata and Eevee followed the fire type up a flight of stairs that were built to climb the steep incline before they found a few items in the grass. A great ball, a lure ball, a miracle seed and a repel. I wonder how people lose these things. I mean anyone, namely us, can just walk and pick these up, Naruto said.
As they walked through the grass, they caught a few wild Pokémon.
They each caught an Ekans, Bellsprout, Hoppip and Wooper while Hinata caught her own Mareep.
The two then went back by the bridge to try out their new old rods and caught Magikarp and Tentacool. The data registered itself into the Pokédex's databanks as they were registered as caught.
Bellsprout, the Sprout Pokémon.
A grass/poison type Pokémon. It plants its feet deep underground to replenish water. It can't escape its enemy while it's rooted. Ekans, the snake Pokémon. A poison type Pokémon.
It can freely detach its jaw to swallow large prey whole. It can become too heavy to move, however.
Hoppip, the cottonweed Pokémon. A grass/flying type Pokémon.
Its body is so light, it must grip the ground firmly with its feet to keep from being blown away.
Wooper, the waterfish Pokémon. A water/ground type Pokémon.
This Pokémon lives in cold water. It will leave the water to search for food when it gets cold outside.
Magikarp, the fish Pokémon. A water-type Pokémon.
For no reason, it jumps and splashes about, making it easy for predators like Pidgeotto to catch it mid-jump.
Tentacool, the jellyfish Pokémon. A water/poison type Pokémon.
When the tide goes out, dehydrated Tentacool remains can be found washed up on the shore.
After that, the two trainers walked along the road and stopped at the nearby Pokémon Center to heal their Pokémon.
I think I'll switch out for a water type.
Hinata-chan, which one do you think I should deposit and withdraw? Naruto asked.
Hinata looked through Naruto's PC account that held his Pokémon before looking at the blonde.
I think you should de-deposit your Kakuna A and switch out for Wooper.
Its ground type A attribute W would prevented F from being affected by electrical attacks, Hinata suggested.
Good thinking, Hinata-chan.
You're so smart, Naruto said with his foxy grin, causing the girl to blush lightly, well for Hinata anyways, at the compliment. Naruto then placed Kakuna's Pokeball on the transporter as it was sent into his PC box, and then Wooper's Pokeball arrived in its place.
Wooper appeared out of the Pokemon and hopped around. Woopa woopa woopa, the Pokemon danced around before looking at Kalava. Woopa!
The waterfish Pokemon jumped atop the fire type's head and lay down like Kalava was a bed.
Quill?
The fire type looked at Eevee, who seemed to shrug as both she and Kalava were confused at Wooper's behavior.
And Naruto-kun, what do you think I should put in my team? Hinata asked, poking her index fingers together. Naruto looked through her current team, which consisted of Eevee, Sentret, Butterfree, Hoppip, Ekans and Bellsprout.
I think you could wait until you find a Pokemon you would like to switch out with because your team is okay right now, Naruto advised.
Hinata nodded, and then the two looked outside
and noticed the sun was beginning to set if the fiery color of the sky was any indication.
Well, let's book a room and turn in for the day.
The Pokemon have been fighting all day, Naruto suggested.
I think so too, Hinata agreed before the two walked up to the Nurse Shizune of the center and requested the two-bedroom room. Nurse Shizune handed the key to the room to Hinata and the two then turned in for the night. The next day. After a good shower and a small breakfast of fried Pidgey eggs and toast, oh come on, what else are they supposed to eat in the Pokemon universe? It's not like common animals exist here. The two preteens, Eevee and Kalava, returned the key to Nurse Shizune, thanking her for the Pokemon Center's hospitality before heading off. So Hinata-chan, how long again until we reach Azalea Town? Naruto asked, leaning to look over Hinata's shoulder as the pale-eyed Hyuga took out her map. The map was unfurled and Hinata noted the eerie Union Cave tunnels that separated Route 32 from Route 33. Well and Naruto-kun, currently we're on Route 32, so all we have to do is go through Union Cave and then just make a R right, or a L left from the map's perspective and then we'll be in Azalea Town, Hinata said. Naruto grinned and pumped his fist into the air. YOSH, let's go! Naruto exclaimed as he and Kalava rushed off, Hinata and Eevee following close behind. After a quick battle using Mareep against a birdkeeper by the name of Peter, which allowed Mareep to grow to level 15 and allow it to learn Thunder Wave, the two trainers and their starters entered the Union Cave. Union Cave. The cave was a bit dark, but not too dark that they were completely blind. Kalava's flame provided a bit of light to see ahead of them as well. As the two walked through the cave, they paused when they heard a faint cry, like something was calling out for help. What is that? That is the call of the spirit of the cave. A voice called out to their left. Eek! Everyone looked to see it was Naruto and not Hinata, who had screamed like a little girl. He scratched the back of his head in embarrassment. Anyways, a spirit you say, like ghost. Naruto was deathly afraid of anything having to deal with the supernatural, especially ghosts. /N, imagine what would happen if he met a Banette, creepy little puppet doll thing XD. Yes, they say that the noise is only heard on Fridays like today, the hiker said. Okay, creepy hiker man, Naruto said to the man as he put his hands on Hinata's back and began to push her. Quick, go, he muttered as he rushed his travel buddy away from the creepy man. Beware! He called after them, but Kalava, annoyed with the hiker, shot a small fireball at the man, causing him to shriek in fear at seeing his new vest get burnt. However, Naruto made a wrong turn and immediately he and Hinata tumbled down a slope. The two preteens groaned in pain as their partners nudged them to see if they were okay. Hinata-chan, you okay? The blonde asked as he got off of her. Hinata shook the dust out of her and nodded. Hi, Naruto-kun, she replied as she grabbed his hand, blushing at the contact, as he helped her up. The two looked around the small cavern they were in and noticed another cave entrance on the other side of a small body of water. A loud cry suddenly reached out from the cave, startling the Hyuga, causing her to latch onto Naruto. Naruto froze as he felt Hinata clutch him tightly and slightly blushed when he saw her hugging him. This feels nice, he thought, but quickly removed those thoughts from his head and wrapped his arm around Hinata. It's okay, Hinata-chan. I gotcha, he said with his foxy grin. Hinata blushed at his words. Naruto-kun, she stared into his eyes and the two felt as if they couldn't pull away, until Eevee nudged the blonde's foot. Eevee. The female evolution Pokemon cried out. Naruto and Hinata then looked at each other, immediately pulled away, looking away from each other. Naruto coughed. Yeah, we can't cross that water. The water seems a bit too deep and we don't know if there are any Pokemon in that water, Naruto said. Hinata nodded. Well, actually, my uncle Hisashi, who lives in Ikurutik City, he said how there was a hidden move that enables certain water types to cross bodies of water, Hinata said. Naruto put that fact into his must-remember part of his brain. That'd be nice to have, the blonde muttered before looking back at the incline. The two used a combination of having Naruto's Pidgey carry Hinata's Bellsprout up the incline and then had the Sprout Pokemon use Vine Whip as rope to help them climb out. Arigato, Bellsprout, Hinata thanked the Pokemon as she recalled it,
Naruto doing the same with Pidgey. Naruto and Hinata continued to traverse the caves and fought a few Geodude, Sandshrew and Onix, catching one of each for their Pokédex, to train their new Pokémon.
Geodude, the rock Pokémon. A rock-type Pokémon.
It uses its arms to steadily climb steep mountain paths.
It swings its fists around if angered. Onix, the rock snake Pokémon.
A rock/ground type Pokémon. It twists and squirms through the ground.
The thunderous roar of its tunneling echoes a long way. Sandshrew, the mouse Pokémon. A ground-type Pokémon. Disliking water, it lives in deep burrows in arid areas. It can roll itself instantly into a ball.
They also fought and defeated a fire breather and a hiker and found 2 items, one being a potion and the other, a great ball. Really, why do people not realize they dropped these things? Naruto wondered as he took the potion and Hinata took the great ball. Naruto's Wooper grew from level 7 to level 10 as it easily took out the rock/ground types and Hinata's Bellsprout and Hoppip, which she repeatedly switched out in order for the experience to be shared, increased from level 8 to 12 and level 5 to 10, respectively. After that, the 2 trainers and their starters exited the Union Cave.
Route 33. Finally, we're out, Naruto cheered. Quilava.
The fire type jumped onto his trainer's back, causing the blonde to stumble and laugh at his Pokemon's antics.
Naruto then spotted 2 apricorn trees and picked the 2, one was black and the other was pink.
He and Hinata then turned right and headed towards Azalea Town, but were stopped when a hiker came out of nowhere.
Hey there, the hiker greeted, name's Akatsuchi, any one of you kids interested in a battle?
I've been bored for a while after just coming out of Union Cave for a past few minutes.
Then why didn't you just go to Azalea Town and challenge the gym there? Naruto asked. Nah, there's something weird going on in that their town. These strange people dressed in black with red R's emblazoned on their chests came barging through acting as if they owned the whole damn continent of Johto and Kanto.
When I went into town, there was a rumor saying that something was going on in the slowpoke well where slowpoke were said to live.
Well, shouldn't we go help those slowpoke? Hinata asked. Akatsuchi grimaced.
I wish I could, but those guys looked pretty mean, Akatsuchi said.
Oh, suck it up. Naruto yelled. Quilava Qualva. The volcano Pokemon's flames ignited on its head and rear.
We're gonna help those slowpoke then, come on Quilava, Naruto said.
Naruto-kun, W8. She called after her friend as she and Eevee followed the 2. Akatsuchi thought for a while before smirking.
That kid really knows how to get you fired up. Oh, Igaki, wait for me.
Slowpoke well.
Naruto and Quilava stopped in front of the entrance of Slowpoke well and noticed a man matching the description that Akatsuchi talked about regarding the strange people that started messing up Azalea Town.
Oi, what the hell do you think you're doing? Naruto called out to the man.
The black clothes wearing adult turned to the blonde preteen and his fire type as well, looking to see Akatsuchi, Hinata and Eevee appear alongside the blonde.
Listen here, Blondie, we're just doing some work.
We're raising money for our business by cutting off slowpoke tails and selling them, a delicacy, you know, the man informed Naruto. Slowpoke tail. Akatsuchi licked his lips, causing the 2 preteens and their Pokemon to sweat drop at the rather big-boned man. Akatsuchi noticed their stares before becoming serious and glared at the man.
Who do you think you are that you could just barge into a town and start chopping off the tails of poor defenseless slowpokes? Naruto yelled. NN Naruto-kun, the plural of slowpoke is slowpoke, causing Naruto to frown at his incorrect grammar.
Ha, well listen here. Obviously, you've never heard of us. We're Root, the Pokemon organization that's gonna finally take over the world, and finally our leader will return to us, the Root grunt stated.
Naruto, Hinata and Akatsuchi took a step back in alarm as they heard the name of the organization.
That's impossible, you guys disbanded 30 years ago when your leader disappeared when he was defeated, Akatsuchi said as he remembered the tales of the evil organization.
Well, we haven't, and now we're gonna come back with a vengeance, and soon everyone will learn to fear the name Team Root. The grunt cackled. Naruto and Kalava took a step forward.
Not if I have anything to say about it, Naruto growled. Kalava's flames increased in size as his anger increased.
Oh, so the Gaki thinks he can beat me, well bring it on.
The grunt said as he brought out an Ekans.
The snake Pokemon hissed as its yellow eyes stared into Kalava's crimson ones. Ikuzo. Chapter 5, You're Bugging Me. Naruto's Kalava charged as it performed a tackle attack against its reptilian opponent.
The Ekans hissed as it coiled its way around Kalava's body when it dodged and began to squeeze as it employed the wrap attack.
Kalava, quick use Ember. Naruto commanded.
Kalava's flames on its head began to spout multiple fireballs that landed on the serpent, but Ekans refused to let go as it took damage.
Ember one more time.
And the fire type managed to send Ekans flying with a final blast of fire from the flames on its head. Ekans hissed as it rose up, its tongue flicking in and out of its mouth.
Ekans, use Poison Sting. Kalava dodged with quick attack and slam into Ekans. Naruto ordered. Kalava took off at a fast pace, leaving behind a trail of blue and pale yellow, the colors of Kalava's fur, as it avoided the flurry of poisonous projectiles, and when it reached close enough, Kalava slammed into Ekans' body, sending the poison type flying.
Ekans hissed as it fell to the ground unconscious.
Oh, you think you're so tough? Well, let's see how you handle my Zubat.
The root grunt exclaimed as he recalled his fainted Pokemon and replaced it with a blue bat-like Pokemon that had purple wing membrane, a gaping mouth which showed its only 2 teeth, which were very sharp.
It also had no eyes as it used sonic waves to pinpoint its opponent's location. Naruto called back Kalava as the volcano Pokemon ran back to its trainer's side. Mareep, go. Naruto called out.
The electric type released a cry as its wool expanded, full of electrical charge.
Zubat leech life. The grunt commanded.
The small bat flew through the air, fangs bared as it used its hearing to lock onto Mareep when it had released its cry. Mareep, quick use tackle and knock it down.
Naruto commanded.
The blue and yellow sheep leaped into the air and smacked into Zubat, but the bat Pokemon flapped its wings quickly and then turned around as Mareep skidded to a halt as it landed. Zubat quickly flew down and bared its fangs and sunk its teeth through the wool of Mareep as it hoped to pierce its flesh through the thick yellow hide. However, both the grunt and Zubat forgot to take into account the fact that Mareep's wool was still full of electricity, and when the Zubat bit down,
zap zap.
Zubat's skeleton flashed between being visible and invisible as the electricity coursed through its body, making it look like a living X-ray.
Zubat was smoking by the time the electricity was finished, and it fell to the ground, unconscious and covered with spark of blue electricity. Ha, in your face, team. Naruto grinned.
The root grunt gritted his teeth before returning Zubat to its Pokeball.
You got lucky, you punk, but we'll be back.
The root member threw a smoke bomb down, and when the smoke cleared, the grunt was gone.
So Akatsuchi, how far do you think the fur red hole goes?
Naruto asked, remembering the old saying his mother used to tell him.
/N, Furret is the closest Pokemon I could think of to a rabbit in this region. We'll see when we go down it, the large hiker said with a grin.
Naruto climbed down the ladder, Kalava having temporarily returned to its Pokeball in order for the blonde trainer to do so.
Hinata returned EV and she and Akatsuchi followed after.
Once the two reached the bottom of the ladder, Eevee and Kalava immediately released themselves from their Pokeballs.
Quill, Kalava Quill.
Kalava pointed ahead of them and the 4 of them followed its gaze and their eyes widened at what they saw. There was Old Man lying down on the ground a few feet away from them. The 3 trainers and 2 Pokemon ran up to the downed elderly man and Akatsuchi helped him up.
Yo, Gigi, you okay? Naruto asked.
The old groaned, gripping his back. I'm not old, you whippersnapper, the old man yelled at Naruto. Anyone who still says whippersnapper is considered old in my book, the blonde trainer thought as the old man glared at him. The old gripped his back in pain once more when he tried to move.
Now old timer, take it easy. You're gonna hurt yourself if you keep moving like that, Akatsuchi told the elder man.
Shut up, now just rest me down and don't call me old man, my name is Kurt.
Okay? Kurt asked.
The three younger humans nodded before they ran off down the pathway into the depth of Slowpoke Well. The trio looked around, Quilava's flames lighting the way as they saw many Slowpoke. Their tails were cut off, revealing the muscle and tail bone from where the segment of bone was cut from. The Slowpoke were all unconscious, at least they hoped the Slowpoke were unconscious. The group continued to walk through the caverns until they heard some noise coming up ahead. Quilava quickly outed its flames and Eevee and Quilava hid behind a nearby rock with Akatsuchi and their trainers.
Akatsuchi? Naruto whispered, gaining the older man's attention. Hi. You seem to know a lot about this root organization. Mind telling us about it? Naruto said. Please, Hinata added. Akatsuchi thought for a while before nodding.
Okay, 30 years ago there was an organization known as Root. These guys were criminals, and their boss was even more vile than the grunts and admins. He had a goal to completely take over the entire Kanto region through the use of Pokémon. In fact, they say that back in the day, the grunts had killed a Marowak just to set an example for the people of Lavender Town, Akatsuchi said.
Hinata gasped while Naruto growled in anger at hearing this.
However, all their nefarious deeds were halted when a lone trainer with a Pikachu as his main Pokémon had gone through the entire organization and defeated them all. Even when they had taken over Saffron City, the trainer was said to be a great one, and his Pikachu was so powerful that it was able to utilize two moves simultaneously, the main one being a combination of Thunderbolt and Quick Attack. A combination that became known throughout the Kanto region as the legendary Hiraishin.
Akatsuchi paused as the information sunk into his listeners' brains. Flying Thunder God? Naruto and Hinata thought. An odd name despite it sounding so incredibly badass.
The trainer had defeated the Root leader in the end, and Root was declared disbanded and their activities ceased for the past 30 years, but apparently, they decided to come back.
Whoa, those guys are evil. We have to stop them, Hinata added.
Quilava and Eevee were narrowing their eyes at the far-off grunts who were laughing as they chopped yet another unconscious Slowpoke's tail. Okay, so let's go and take them down, Naruto said as he got ready to charge, but Akatsuchi grabbed the blonde preteen's arm.
Hold it, now listen, we can't just go barging in.
We'll need to catch them by surprise. They have Zubat and Rattata as scouts, so that means we'll be easily detected if we get too close. Now the remaining Slowpoke, judging from where that other Root member is getting the tails, are on the left side of their location.
So, here's what we're gonna do.
Akatsuchi whispered the plan to the two trainers and their starters.
Naruto and Hinata's eyes widened at the pure genius of the plan. Let's do it, Hinata nodded.
The Root grunts were laughing as they counted the Slowpoke tails in their arms and threw them into a nearby box. Man, killing off these Slowpoke were easy, they're so stupid they forget everything that happened to them 3 seconds ago, a grunt chuckled.
Yeah, female grunt spoke this time, I mean come on.
But hey, easier job for us. The third grunt was busy getting another Slowpoke. An entire group were huddled against the wall trying to back as far away as they could from the people who killed their brethren. However, the grunt paused when he and his companions heard the sound of footsteps. The grunt walked away from the Slowpoke and looked as a larger grunt walked up to them, his head bent low and his hat shielded his eyes from view.
Yo, what the hell are you doing?
You're supposed to be watching out for any people that might be trying to sneak in here, the female grunt yelled. The fat Root member then tugged a rope, pulling out a Quilava and an Eevee from behind him.
The ropes wrapped around their necks. These two Pokémon had stumbled into the well.
These are pretty rare Pokémon, so I thought it would be a nice present for the boss after we sell the Slowpoke tails, the grunt told his 3 cohorts. The 3 grunts smiled. And then that means we might get a promotion, one of the male grunts smiled. Great job, man, the other male grunt clapped the large member on his shoulder. However, while those three were busy talking to their new friend, Naruto and Hinata had sneaked around the multitude of rocks that were out of range of the Rattatas and Zubat's senses and neared the slowpoke group.
Once they reached close enough, Naruto threw a small pebble at them.
The slowpoke group turned and were frightened at the sight of the humans, but when they saw how they knelt down, hands behind their backs as sign that they weren't going to hurt them, they let their guard down slightly.
"Pust, come on.
We're gonna get you guys out of here," Naruto whispered. "Hurry," Hinata whispered as she kept watch for the Zubat and Rattata that were observing the scene. The slowpoke quickly, and carefully, walked over to Naruto and hid with him behind the large boulders. However, one of the slowpoke, a young one by the looks of it due to its smaller size compared to the others, tripped and let out a poke in pain as it fell and bit its tongue.
The Rattata and Zubat all turned and saw the lack of slowpoke. Rattata, Rattata, Rattata. Zubat.
The two species released their cries, gaining their trainers' attentions. The three grunts turned around to see their Pokémon looking at the area where the slowpoke were previously located. The Zubats suddenly released their sonic screeches to search for the missing Pokémon before pinpointing them behind the boulders.
"Hey, what do you kids think you're doing here?"
they cried as they saw the slowpoke, Naruto and Hinata run out from behind the boulders.
Kyuso the blonde preteen cursed before throwing out a pokeball. "Mareep Thunderwave!" he commanded.
The wool Pokémon flew out of its pokeball and released a wave of blue electricity, paralyzing both Pokémon and human.
The root members fell to the ground spasming as their nervous systems became out of whack. "Now use Thundershock to take out the Zubat."
The bolts of blue lightning rocketed from Mareep's hide and striking down all the paralyzed bat Pokémon. "Akatsuchi, hurry, we have to go," the blue black-haired girl called out as she ran after the slowpoke herd. Akatsuchi nodded before releasing Kalava and Eevee and taking off his disguise, a suit which he had stolen from a fourth root member who was currently taking a long nap behind a rock in nothing but his boxers.
Hey, why you're not a member?" The female root member stammered as electricity still coursed through her body. No duh, now Quilava." Akatsuchi told the volcano Pokémon.
The fire-type nodded before taking a deep breath and released a column of smoke in the form of a smokescreen attack to cover their track. Naruto returned Mareep to its pokeball and ran after Akatsuchi. "Wait, Akatsuchi, there's only one way in and out of the well, why'd we have to use smokescreen?"
Naruto asked.
"Because, it makes our exit look cool," the large hiker panted before spotting the still-down Kurt. Akatsuchi quickly grabbed Kurt and held him bridal style as they reached the ladder. Naruto and Hinata began to panic.
There's no way to carry all of them out of the well away from them," Hinata cried out.
Naruto ran in place as he looked around the narrow vertical tunnel for any way that would help them get the slowpoke and themselves out of the slowpoke well. "Don't worry guys, I got it covered." Akatsuchi quickly took out a pokeball and threw it in the air. A large flash of light took physical form as an onyx appeared. The onyx was rather large though, so the slowpoke, Naruto and Hinata had to lay themselves against the wall of the vertical tunnel so that they weren't crushed by the rock snake Pokémon.
"You know, you could have thought this through," Naruto called out. "Kalava lava." The volcano Pokémon added its 2 cents.
"Onyx, I need you to carry all these guys out of this tunnel. Oh, and by the way, how's about a rock throw for those guys over there?" Akatsuchi said, pointing at the root grunts and their Rattata, their Zubat having all fainted by Naruto's Mareep. Onyx turned and quickly raced towards its trainer's opponents, causing the rodents and the Rattata to freeze, turn tail and run. Onyx released a roar as it reached the area of the well where there was enough room for it to rear up to its full height. It quickly slapped a few boulders as it performed rock throw and the boulders crashed down around the screaming Pokémon and root members. "Now Onyx, use dig and get us out of here," Akatsuchi ordered. The gargantuan dual-type Pokémon nodded before it reared up and slammed into the ground, eating its way through the rock in the same manner Naruto eats ramen, quickly. Of course that's an understatement. Once the tunnel was dug, the group dropped down the shallow drop before following the length of the tunnel, but Naruto stopped for a while as he looked at Kalava.
Use Ember on all those Rattata and knock them out so that we don't have anyone tailing us," Naruto said.
Kalava nodded, and using pinpoint accuracy, it fired small fireballs that crashed into the small rat Pokémon, knocking them out.
Kalava nodded before it and Naruto dropped down into the Onyx tunnel.
Outside Slowpoke well. Hinata was using her Bellsprout Spine Whip to allow it to bring up the Slowpoke, while some used Onyx as a ladder to climb out. Once all the Slowpoke got out, Hinata looked down into the darkness of the tunnel for her blonde travel companion.
"Naruto Kun,"
she called out, her voice echoing throughout the tunnel.
After a few seconds, a reply followed. "Yeah, I hear ya, Hinata-chan," Naruto yelled. "Quilava." The volcano Pokémon said to it was present as well.
The two climbed up Akatsuchi's Onyx before exiting the new, second entrance/exit to Slowpoke well. Naruto then, by the request of the Slowpoke herd, was able to catch one of them for Professor Irika and for the need to complete the Pokédex. The Pokédex beeped as it registered the data of the newly caught Pokémon.
Slowpoke, the dopey Pokémon. A water/psychic type Pokémon.
It lazes vacantly near water. If something bites its tail, it won't even notice for a whole day.
"Hey, Kurt, you okay?" Akatsuchi asked.
Kurt nodded before rising to his feet, but he still felt his back paining him.
I really hurt my back when I fell from that ladder." "Kyuso, hey, I don't suppose of you hovovu."
Kurt cried out in surprise and slight pain, and Hinata slammed her palm into the lower area of his back where he had been holding it. A loud snap and crack followed after as she followed up with two more palm strikes to his wounded back area. "Aghu pale-eyed Gaki, that really hurt and you probably fixed my back," Kurt sighed in relief as he left his spine muscles relax.
"And my Oka-chan was a doctor back in the day."
I picked up a few things from her," Hinata muttered as she began to twiddle her fingers as she saw all the surprised looks on everyone's faces.
Eevee nuzzled its partner's leg and Hinata stroked the head of the small evolution Pokémon as Kurt stretched his back to loosen whatever remaining stiffness was in it. Naruto and Kalava then ran over to Hinata and Eevee. "Hey, Hinata-chan?" Naruto asked.
Hi, Naruto-kun?"
If it isn't too much trouble." Naruto turned around and hunched over a bit. "Do you think you could me a back massage?"
Hinata giggled at the blonde's antics and nodded, hi, and she then began to rub her hands over the boy's muscles.
"Oh, Hinata-chan, that feels so good."
"Your hands are like magic," he sighed, melting into the raven-haired girl's massage. Hinata blushed at the compliments from the blonde.
"And no problem, Naruto-kun." Hinata was suddenly flanked on her left and right by Kurt and Akatsuchi. "Hey, think you can give me one too?" Kurt asked. "One for me too, please?" Kalava. EVVVEV.
Hinata's sweat dropped while continuously massaging her crush's back.
"Oh boy, what have I done?" she thought.
About an hour later and 4 massages later, the group of 4 humans and 2 Pokémon all waved bye to the grateful Slowpoke group before they headed into Azalea Town.
Once they reached there, Naruto and Akatsuchi had their Pokémon take a quick healing break before taking them back. "Here you go boys," Nurse Shizen said as she handed them their Pokeballs. Pokeballs. Kalava was sitting on the table as he never went back in his Pokeball.
"Arigato, Shizen-sen." The 2 males bowed to the raven-haired nurse. "Say there, Shizen, wanna come back to my place for a drink of Miltank milk? It's imported from the Sinnoh region." Kurt flirted with the nurse.
Shizune rolled her eyes.
"Kurt, how many times have I told you, I'm 28 and you're 67, you're too old for me. Now go back home and make some Pokeballs or something," Shizen said before turning away from the older man, causing him to sulk.
Akatsuchi and Hinata's eyes widened as they heard that. Excuse, but did she say you make Pokeballs?" Akatsuchi asked. "She implied it, why?" Kurt asked.
Hinata looked over the man before pulling out her guidebook on the Johto region and went to the section on important people of Johto. Of Sea Course. No wonder why your name sounded familiar. Why you're K. Kurt, the famous Pokeball maker. Hinata said. Kurt's sweat dropped as he saw the three trainers gape at him. Kurt Gigi is the guy who makes Pokeballs? Naruto asked. I'm not old, you blonde-haired buffoon. Kurt slapped Naruto on the head, causing the boy to meet the harsh tile floor. Kalava, it hurt so bad, Naruto whimpered as he nursed the large bump on his face, crying anime tears. The volcano Pokemon shook its head at its trainer. EV. The evolution Pokemon gained the three people's attentions, and the three people who were currently standing watched as Eevee opened the fallen Naruto's bag, causing his map, a few of his unused Pokeballs and his yellow, pink and black apricots to roll along the floor. Naruto quickly gathered up his things as he saw them rolling away and packed them away, but Kurt had grabbed the three apricots and stared at them. It's been a while since I've made a Pokeball. You know what, screw it. You youngsters want a Pokeball? Kurt asked. Naruto, Hinata and Akatsuchi nodded, causing the old man to smile. Great, 'cause you're not getting any. He roared in their faces as his head grew to unimaginable sizes. It reminded Naruto and Hinata of when Professor Irika's head grew huge when he was angry at his students, usually Naruto though. Scary, the three trainers and two Pokemon thought. Until tomorrow, that is, it takes at least a whole day for me to complete Pokeballs, Kurt said before fishing out a green Pokegear from his shirt pocket. Naruto and Hinata knew the process and quickly added Kurt to their contacts. Hey, I want a Pokeball too, Akatsuchi complained. Well, there are three apricots here, Naruto, do you mind if you give one to Rockhead over here? Kurt asked, pointing at the hiker, causing the man to frown at his appointed nickname. Yeah, sure, I don't mind. Do you, Hinata-chan? The blonde asked his travel companion. Hinata shook her. I don't mind, Kurt nodded before walking through the sliding doors to go towards his house and get started on the Pokeballs. After the man left, another figure entered the Pokemon Center, a large bug net hanging over his shoulders. Naruto and Hinata were about to leave when they nearly bumped into said man. Gomen Nasai, the two preteens apologized before looking up at the bug net carrying man. The man was slightly pale and wore a large gray overcoat beneath a black t-shirt and black pants. On the back of his overcoat was the symbol for the Pokemon League. A golden Pokeball with the words Pokemon League in black written along the halfway mark between the two halves of the Pokeball, and atop it sat a light orange, shiny, Pikachu which looked like it was waving as it raised a single paw. To complete the outfit, the man wore a pair of brown boots. Blonde hair, blue eyes, whisker marks on cheeks. You must be Naruto Uzumaki. And judging from your look. The man adjusted his dark sunglasses that covered his eyes. You must be a Hyuga, though given your age you must be Hisashi's niece, Hinata, right? Naruto and Hinata took a few steps away from the strange man as Eevee and Kalava took steps forward, growling at the man. Akatsuchi came back from buying a candy bar from the vending machine and was confused at what was going on. Now I'm not here to fight. My son has told me a lot about you too. After all, I did send him to New Bark Town to learn about Pokemon before coming back home, the man said. Naruto and Hinata looked over the man. Naruto's blue eyes widened. No way, you're... The man nodded. Yes, I am, he stated. You're Shino's crazy uncle Kitamaro, who's obsessed with spiders. Naruto yelled, causing Akatsuchi, Hinata, and the man to face fault. The man quickly regained his composure. No, that would be my stepbrother. I am Shino's Tusan. Shibi Aburame and the leader of the Azalea Town gym. Naruto and Hinata were in shock. Shino's Otosan is a gym leader? Naruto whispered. Hinata looked over the man. He doesn't look like much. I know, Akatsuchi muttered as he leaned in to join in on the conversation. The three were whispering quite loudly and Shibi could hear every word, causing him to have a dark cloud hovering over him. This caused the two preteens and one adult to stop talking and wave away the emotional thundercloud hanging over Shibi's head. The elder Aburaim nodded to the blonde.
My son tells me of you wanting to challenge the Pokémon League, correct?
Hell yeah, and I'm gonna get all 8 badges and beat the Johto Silver Conference, and then once I do that I'm going to beat the Elite Four and the champion and become the new champion of the Johto region.
Naruto yelled. The occupants of the Pokémon Center looked and smiled at the blonde boy. He was certainly a determined young lad. I see, well then I trust you have defeated Shino-san from Violet City? Naruto nodded and showed the Azalea Gym leader the Zephyr badge. Excellent, now do you wish to challenge my gym? Naruto nodded. Shibi then looked at Akatsuchi and walked over to the rock-type user.
Shibi observed the man. He was dressed in a regular outfit that hikers usually wore, but in a different color scheme.
The pants and shirt were all red and he wore a gray-blue neckerchief around his neck.
He wore a pair of black hiking boots and had the large backpack and sleeping bag that hikers usually had when they traveled. Hinata, Kalava and Eevee all followed the leader and his soon-to-be challenger. Once the group reached the large dome-shaped gym, they gaped in awe at how much larger it was than Shino's gym. It was composed of a great deal of foliage that covered the outer lining of the gym and had a large bridge over a deep cavern that led to the other side of the gym. A variety of bug Pokémon flew/hung in or near the trees. The bug user then turned to the blonde and told him to wait with Kalava. Hinata, you and Eevee can cross the bridge with me. Akatsuchi, you come too. Hinata and Akatsuchi complied with her friend's father's wishes and crossed the iron bridge. Shibi, Akatsuchi, Hinata and Eevee then stood atop a platform and rose to a larger, higher platform above. Once the three of them reached there, Shibi pressed a big red button and suddenly the gym itself began to rumble. Naruto and Kalava braced themselves as the forest suddenly began to shift around and Hinata and Eevee gasped as she saw the maze that Naruto was currently trapped in with Kalava. Shibi flipped his net so that the bottom of the handle faced his mouth. He removed a piece of it to reveal the small microphone in it.
Naruto, can you hear me? Shibi asked into the mic.
Naruto gave a thumbs up, but he and his starter were looking around as they tried to understand what just happened. Good, now then I, like some of the other gym leaders, like to test out challengers before they come to face me.
You are currently trapped in a forest maze of my own design that is filled with bug-type Pokémon. These Pokémon will often come out and challenge you if you step into their territory.
Your challenge is to reach the end of my maze and also to defeat the Heracross that lives here, which is one of the leaders of the forested area. The Pokémon here are wild, so if you wish to, you may capture some of them, Shibi said.
Shibi-san, what about Quilava's Ember attack? Wouldn't it burn down the trees here if I use it? Naruto yelled out his question.
It's no problem. I have installed many a sprinkler in the forest to automatically activate once a fire has started, Shibi replied through his net microphone.
Now then, a few rules before we begin.
1. You cannot leave the gym to go and heal your Pokémon before you have defeated my maze.
2. You can use whatever items you have on your person to aid you.
3. You cannot run through trees as a shortcut. If you do, you automatically fail the test and you cannot come back to challenge me until tomorrow, Shibi said.
Naruto nodded before going through his bag and pulled out his Pokeballs.
He quickly held up his hand for Shibi to wait a minute as the blonde ran outside to restock on his Pokeballs.
After a minute or two, the blonde returned.
Okay, I got my Pokeballs and a few Great Balls, let's do this.
Quilava!
The fire type cried out with its partner. Naruto and Kalava waited for the signal to start.
You may begin.
Shibi announced and a loud horn sounded throughout the gym as Naruto and Kalava took off. They swerved left and right, before coming to a dead end.
What, already?
Naruto exclaimed as he and Kalava turned around, however there were a swarm of Beedrill facing him.
Naruto quickly took out a Pokeball. Pidgey, use Gust. Naruto commanded.
The tiny bird Pokémon appeared in a flash of light and began to flap its wings.
A small tornado formed as the wind swirled and sucked up all the bee Pokémon. Since it was a flying type move, the move was super effective and they were all weakened. Kalava ended the small battle with the swarm using an ember attack, knocking them out with the miniature balls of flame. The two Pokémon and their trainer continued to traverse the maze and began to beat back any Pokémon that came their way due to Naruto's use of type advantage, and he even faced a few Butterfree and Beedrill, so he let Mareep take a turn so that the wool Pokémon could gain some experience. However, his two initial Pokémon were beginning to get a bit tired, and he healed them with the potions he had come with. He even managed to catch a Pinico, which were said to be very rare, by having Kalava headbutt the tree it was on, and the data was registered in the orange Pokédex. Pinico, the bagworm Pokémon. A bug-type Pokémon. It likes to make its shell thicker by adding layers of tree bark. The additional weight doesn't bother it. After a few more minutes of running blindly through the forest maze, Naruto finally made the right turn and saw the exit to the maze leading to the bridge a few feet away. Yada, we did it! Naruto cried out in joy. However, his and his Pokémon's joyous occasion came to an end as a large blue-horned beetle that looked like a mixture between a pillbug and a stag beetle jumped out of the trees. It had a tough shell, Naruto could tell, due to the way it shone, showing that it took good care of itself. The horn was rather large and fancy, thus indicating it was a male Heracross. Its black, golden-rimmed eyes stared at Naruto. Heracross. The bug/fighting type made a come motion with its claws. Naruto looked at Pidgey and looked down at Kalava as he tried to decide which Pokémon to send in. He's an interesting boy. Shino was right. Naruto sure is smart when it comes to practical usage of Pokémon, as he finally is able to apply theoretical knowledge into the mix, Shibi thought. Naruto looked at Kalava and sent it out. The fire type gave a cry as Pidgey rested on Naruto's shoulder. Alright, Kalava, start off with quick attack. Naruto commanded. Kalava took off like a shot, surprising the observing gym leader. He's trained it well, Shibi commended as he saw Kalava smash into Heracross' chest, sending the bug type skidding backwards. Heracross looked up and scratched its chest where Kalava struck and then smirked. Heracross. The bug Pokémon charged forth, aiming to slam its horn against its opponent. Kalava, dodge it and use Ember. Naruto commanded. Kalava nodded and jumped to the side, but was caught off guard, both it and trainer, as Heracross turned on the dime and suddenly its claws were surrounded by a dark aura. The claws smashed against Kalava's face, sending the volcano Pokémon back. What attack was that? Naruto asked as he took out his Pokédex. The Pokédex scanned the shadow-covered claws and came up with the appropriate data. Night Slash. A dark-type move. The user coats claws or talons in a dark aura of energy and slashes the opponent. This move, like most physical moves, tend to have a very high accuracy. Naruto put away the orange Pokédex and watched as Kalava jumped around to avoid the attacks. Kalava, quickly roll on the ground, Naruto commanded. The evolved form of Cyndaquil complied and dropped down low to avoid a swipe from Heracross. Night Slash and tucked itself into a ball, rolling underneath Heracross. Now Ember. Naruto commanded. Kalava popped up as it untucked itself from a ball and opened its jaws. Heracross turned and was suddenly met with a barrage of small fireballs to the face and chest. The fire-type attack sent Heracross flying through the air as it skidded to a stop. Now use quick attack. The volcano Pokémon rushed towards its opponent, but the weakened bug/fighting type wasn't about to give up just yet. Heracross quickly twisted its body to avoid the attack. Its left arm glowed and slammed the arm down on Kalava's back before twisting and crashing another glowing arm against the fire-type's face, and then performed a powerful chop to the head. Kalava released a cry as Heracross grabbed it before throwing the fire-type away. That was Brick Break, Hinata hissed as she saw Kalava get hit hard by that move. Brick Break was a fighting type move that was strong enough to break even steel if the Pokémon was strong enough. That Heracross is rather strong. Are you sure it wasn't trained? Akatsuchi asked.
Shibi spun his bug net around before tapping the rock-type user on his head.
You wouldn't believe what wild Pokémon could do if a challenge presented itself, Shibi answered.
Kalava rose up as Heracross has thrown it into a tree.
Kalava was suddenly tackled from the side by the tackle attack from its opponent. Kalava Ember! Naruto cried.
The fireballs flew through the air towards the powerful bug type, but Heracross quickly raised its arms as its body glowed red. The fireballs crashed into its body and resulted in a large explosion.
Naruto smirked as he took a Pokeball.
So it had to use Endure. Perfect. Naruto clicked the center button on the Pokeball, causing it to expand. Heracross panted as it was very tired, probably having about enough health to keep standing. However, just as Naruto was about to throw his capturing device and catch the nasty little bugger, the Heracross pulled out an orange berry and immediately ate it down in a few bites, causing it to regain its strength.
Quilava! The fire-type exclaimed in surprise as Heracross spread its wings.
Hee hee, that Heracross is really having fun, Shibi chuckled.
Have fun? Hinata asked.
Eevee tilted its head to the side in confusion as Hinata held it in her arms. Heracross is a very strong Pokémon for beginner trainers who just earned their first badge, and although many people have overcome its strength, none have been able to capture it, which is why I think Naruto will.
Naruto gritted his teeth when he saw Heracross fly into the air. Heracross suddenly performed a loop-de-loop and vanished from his and everyone else's view. Well, what happened?
Naruto, Pidgey and Kalava looked around for their opponent when suddenly, a blue flash slammed into Kalava, sending the fire-type soaring as it was struck by Aerial Ace.
Kalava flipped in the air and landed on its feet.
Naruto quickly called Kalava over and smirked as he saw the determined look in its crimson eyes.
You're not gonna give up, are you? The blonde asked his first Pokémon.
The fire-type shook its head.
Quill. Naruto nodded before standing up, and neither will I, Heracross, I will catch you. Kalava, quick attack.
And in a flash of fire, the fire-type vanished from Heracross' sight and Heracross' eyes widened as Quilava's speed and power suddenly increased. The fires on its head and rear suddenly took on a slightly fiercer look as the fires rose in size.
Quilava's eyes burned like crimson fire before it opened its open mouth. Now Kalava, swift. A multitude of stars flew from Quilava's mouth and slammed into Heracross' body, sending it skidding back. Now finish it off with an ember.
Quilava's fire suddenly increased in size before sending out a barrage of small fireballs, and the blaze-empowered attack crashed into Heracross, sending it flying into a nearby tree. Naruto then took out a Pokeball and tossed it, the sphere hitting the bug/fighting type before it even hit the ground. The red and white orb rolled along the tree bark before rolling on the grass of the forest maze. The Pokeball tilted once, then twice, and finally a third time before an audible click was heard.
Yada, we got Heracross!
Naruto yelled as he hugged his starter and Pidgecood in happiness for its trainers and fellow team members' victory. Naruto's Pokédex beeped as it received the new information.
Heracross, the single-horn Pokémon. A bug/fighting type Pokémon.
It is usually docile, but if it is disturbed while sipping honey, it chases off the intruder with its horn. Naruto patted the Pokeball before he scanned it with his Pokédex.
Level 19. Attacks are Night/Endure, Break and Aerial Ace. Naruto read before the Pokeball vanished in a white light as it was sent to his PC. Naruto then gave some potions to Kalava so that it would heal. Suddenly his Pokegear began to ring and Naruto pulled out the device and answered it. Hello? Naruto.
Naruto grinned as he recognized the voice of his old teacher.
Professor Irika, good to hear you. Hey, I just caught a Heracross and it's awesome, Naruto said as he read over the data from his Pokédex once more. Hi, I know. Naruto looked confused. Huh, how would you know? I thought all my Pokémon go to my inbox in my P.C?
They do, Naruto, but I kind of realized that the Pokémon are needed to be able to roam free, and so I used some of my research funds to expand my backyard like Professor Saratobi's, and now it has a large enough space for a large number of Pokémon. And in order to differentiate your Pokémon from that of the other students, I attached specific pins to them so that I'd know whose Pokémon is whose. Irika said.
Naruto smiled.
That's great, Professor. Anyways, I gotta go now. I'm gonna battle the Azalea gym leader now. See ya, Naruto said as he hung up and put away the handheld multi-purpose device.
Naruto walked up to the small platform with Pidgey and Kalava before pulling the small lever.
The platform rose into the air as the pistons applied the force to push the platform up towards the larger platform.
Once Naruto reached the top, Hinata and Akatsuchi congratulated the boy. Good job, and Naruto-kun, she said. Yeah man, great job.
Love that blaze ability Kalava used. Kalava stuck its chest out in pride at the compliment.
Well done, Naruto-san, but now you must face me. Come at me with all you have.
Shibi said as he took his place on one side of the battle platform. Naruto took his side and nodded to the gym leader.
Who's the ref? Akatsuchi asked.
A loud whirring was heard below as another platform rose up. Shino and Kiba were suddenly atop that platform, their partners, Spinarak and Growlithe, were with them.
Oi, Dobe. See, you finally made it to Shino's Otusan's spot, Kiba grinned. Shino elbowed the canine trainer in his stomach.
Do not talk about my Tusan in such a manner, Kiba-san, Shino said as he took his spot on the midway line between the challenger's side and the gym leader's side.
Shino then reached into his long overcoat and pulled out 2 flags.
Kiba was a bit puzzled.
Do you always have those with you? Kiba asked. Shino nodded.
In case I am called by Tusan to be a referee, I always carry my flags with me, Shino explained, waving the red and blue flags. Shino raised the flags in the air as he explained the rules. Alright, this is a 3-on-3 Pokemon battle between Shibi Aburame, gym leader of Azalea Town, and my Tusan, versus the challenger from New Bark Town, Naruto Uzumaki. Only the challenger is able to switch out Pokemon during the battle, and the challenger may use as many healing items as she deems necessary, while the gym leader is only issued 1 healing item, Shino explained.
I think this is the loudest I've ever heard Shino talk, Kiba whispered as he had walked over to Hinata. I think so too, Hinata agreed. Alright, go Metapod.
Shibi yelled.
Pidgey, you're up. Naruto said.
The tiny bird Pokemon faced off against the cocoon Pokemon, flapping its wings.
Pidgey, use quick attack. Naruto commanded.
Pidgey raced towards Metapod, causing Kiba and Akamaru to marvel at its speed.
Whoa, that thing is fast, Kiba said. Growlithe.
Well, Naruto-kun hasn't been doing nothing, Kiba-kun, Hinata said. Pidgey then tucked in its wings as it descended, causing its speed to build up. You're going to need more than brute force if you wish to beat me, Naruto Shibi thought. Metapod, harden. Metapod's shield suddenly gained a toughened look, causing it to increase its defense stat. The flying type crashed into Metapod, but its defensive maneuver allowed it to not take much damage.
Now string shot, Shibi said.
Fly up and avoid it, then use quick attack, but with the corkscrew, Naruto commanded. Shibi was taken aback as he saw Pidgey perform a barrel roll to avoid the attack before diving down and began to rotate while doing so, making it look like a brown and white drill.
Metapod harden, Shibi commanded.
The rotational force allowed for Pidgey's beak to exact more force onto Metapod's shell when the two collided, and the bug type was sent flying.
Now use gust, Naruto commanded.
Pidgey flapped its wings as the wind swirled in one direction, causing a powerful wind circulation system. The miniature tornado swept up the cocoon Pokemon, sending it sky high before Metapod fell to the ground unconscious. You did well, Shibi complimented his Pokemon as he recalled it.
He then pulled out a second Pokeball.
Kakuna, front and center, Shibi said.
The yellow cocoon Pokemon stared at its opponent.
Pidgey, gust attack,
Naruto commanded. Use string shot to latch onto Pidgey's feet, Shibi commanded.
The tornado formed as began to swirl up Kakuna, but the strong string of silk attached to Pidgey caused it to be enveloped in its own attack.
Pidgey released a shrill cry of pain as it was tossed out of the twister with Kakuna.
Both Bug-type and Flying-type were damaged, but Kakuna, being a Bug-type, was knocked very weak.
Pidgey, quick, use your beak to snap off the string and then use Tackle, Naruto commanded.
Pidgey stood up and began to peck at the piece of silk connecting it to Kakuna, and since Kakuna couldn't move, well, things got bad for it. Pidgey had freed itself before climbing high into the air and then dove down, slamming a full body tackle to Kakuna's golden shell. The Pokémon quickly returned to its Pokeball as Chibi knew it was unconscious from the power of that tackle.
Chibi nodded to Naruto. Your use of type advantage is great, Naruto-san, but can you defeat my strongest Pokémon?
Chibi threw the net ball high into the air as the ball opened and revealed a green mantis-like Pokémon. It was as tall as Chibi and was covered in a green exoskeleton. It had 3 claws on each foot and its forearms were 2 long scythe-like appendages.
Beady black eyes shone as it gained a calculating look.
It's already using its technician ability, Akatsuchi said as he observed the Scyther.
Kiba looked confused. What does that ability do? Kiba asked.
Technician is an ability that allows the Pokémon to observe the opponent's movements and also powers up the user's weaker moves, Akatsuchi explained as he crossed his arms.
Chibi-san is alright.
T-type advantage WW won't help against Scyther, especially since as Scyther has such a high speed, Hinata added. Kiba turned to watch his rival battle and saw Pidgey go in for a quick attack, but everyone's eyes widened when Pidgey suddenly freeze up.
So it's finally taken effect, Chibi said. Naruto looked confused. Nani?
Naruto-san, Shino started, just before you attack Kakuna. Kakuna had used a single poison sting as a last-ditch effort to weakening your flying type.
It was successful, as you can now see.
Poison sting has a higher probability of poisoning the opponent the less amount of poison darts fired due to its poison sac spreading the poison evenly throughout each stinger. However, if only one stinger was fired, then that means the poison was very potent, Naruto said as he put 2 and 2 together. Naruto gritted his teeth and recalled Pidgey as Scyther had moved with a quick attack of its own.
The Mantis Pokémon stared at the enemy trainer. Mareep, go! Naruto yelled, sending out the electric-type Pokémon. Interesting, Akatsuchi said.
Whoa, when did Naruto get such cool Pokémon? Kiba said before seeing the little grin Naruto sported when he heard that. Not that I'm saying they are. Naruto shook his head at his second rival before pointing at Scyther. Mareep, use Thunder Wave.
Mareep! And a blast of blue electricity pulsed out of Mareep's body towards Scyther. Scyther, use Quick Attack to gain altitude and avoid the electricity.
Scyther suddenly vanished from view before appearing above the electrical wave, causing it to avoid the attack.
Thunder Wave again, Naruto said.
Mareep fired a single bolt of paralyzing electricity from its body once more, but Scyther avoided.
Again, Naruto yelled.
Kiba looked confused as his rival kept using what he saw as a useless move.
Why does the Dobe keep using Thunder Wave? The dog trainer asked.
Because Thunder Wave's ability is to paralyze its opponents, and if it hits, Scyther's speed will have no use and Chibi loses his advantage, and also due to the fact that Scyther is part flying type, it could give Naruto an opening to use Thundershock with Mareep, Akatsuchi said. After a dozen more Thunder Waves, Mareep became too tired to muster up another Thunder Wave.
Alright, Scyther, Quick Attack.
The green mantis sped through the air and clashed with Mareep, sending the Pokémon flying through the air.
Chibi then had Scyther use Leer to lower his opponent's defense stat. Quick Attack again. Scyther complied and shot forth at a fast pace, crashing into Mareep's body once more. Now use Focus Energy.
Scyther crossed its sides at front of its body as a white aura surrounded it and its muscles tensed beneath its exoskeleton. Mareep, now while we have the chance.
Thundershock. Peep.
The wool Pokémon mustered up a powerful Thundershock attack that arced through the air. Scyther was still charging up for focus energy and its eyes shot open, but it was too late. The electric attack hit home, causing the super effective attack to take down a large bit of health from the Mantis Pokémon. However, although Scyther was tired, it pulled out a citrus berry that was around it. It ate the hold item, causing its health to go back to a suitable level. Hold items are known to be a good way of staying in the fight, Shibi advised. Also, Scyther's focus energy is at its maximum. Now Scyther, U-turn. The Scyther was suddenly surrounded by a blue sphere of energy. The bug/flying type crashed into Mareep's body, sending the wool Pokémon skidding along the floor of the platform, swirls in its eyes. Scyther released a cry of victory as Naruto returned the Pokémon to its ball. Naruto looked at Kalava and saw it staring at the Mantis Pokémon.
No, you've done enough, Naruto thought before taking out Pidgey's Pokeball.
Pidgey, I choose you.
The tiny bird Pokémon appeared out of a flash of light and let out a small coo. It flinched as the poison from the poison sting continued to affect it.
Naruto quickly cled it down and gave it an antidote he had bought a while back in Violet City. With the poison healed, Pidgey was now ready for battle.
Pidgey! The tiny bird Pokémon cried as it flapped its wings heavily.
Naruto smirked. Gust attack.
The large tornado materialized and struck Scyther, sending the dual-type Pokémon spiraling upwards. Scyther quickly moved its wings and floated in the air.
Quick attack!
Shibi yelled.
You use quick attack too, Pidgey! Naruto exclaimed.
The two dual types clashed with each other before separating and clashing once more. Pidgey sped towards Scyther, but the Mantis Pokémon twisted to the side before slashing down with its left side. Pidgey quickly dodged, using its aerial maneuverability in combination with its small size to avoid the attack before twisting and crashing into Scyther's face.
Yada, now use the corkscrew tackle. Naruto commanded it. Pidgey sped upwards before diving down like an eagle aiming for its prey.
Pidgey let out a screech before spinning like a drill, performing a high-speed corkscrew, but Scyther quickly raised its sides. Pidgey clashed with the exoskeleton-covered membrane and then uncrossed the sides from their X formation, slashing outwards and deflecting the attack.
Now Scyther, U-turn. Shibi commanded. Scyther was surrounded by a blue sphere of energy and crashed into Pidgey with terrifying force, sending the smaller Pokémon back. Now follow up with quick attack. And the Mantis Pokémon's wings fluttered rapidly before it vanished from view. Pidgey's eyes darted left and right looking for any sign of its opponent, but it was suddenly struck from its left. Pidgey remained hovering as Scyther vanished once more.
Pidgey's eyes continued to scan the area before it was hit from above and then from the right. The tiny bird Pokémon flapped its wings to stay above ground and its eyes remained ever vigilant.
Naruto-kun, call back Pidgey! Hinata exclaimed. Kiba was in shock. This was the timid girl who couldn't speak loud enough for the teacher to hear her name? Just what had these two been doing that Hinata was able to change her vocal patterns within a matter of days, what others couldn't do in 12 years? Naruto shook his head. No. I know what I'm doing, Hinata-chan.
Pidgey continued to get throttled by Scyther's disappearo trick, as it always disappeared using its speed and then reappeared for a split second to land a blow or two before vanishing once more.
Dobe, listen to her. Switch out for Kalava, it has more health and the fire-type move could help. Kiba said. Naruto frowned at that. I've been using Kalava for too much lately, I need to rely on more than just my strongest Pokémon. Naruto said as he looked at Pidgey. The tiny bird Pokémon looked back at its trainer and smirked before looking back front, and then its eyes widened as it honed in on a movement. Pidgey quickly performed quick attack to avoid the scythe that swiped from its left.
Scyther and Shibi were the most surprised out of everyone as Pidgey suddenly appeared out of nowhere after its dodge and crashed full force into Scyther's side.
I told you, Hinata-chan.
Hinata looked at Naruto and everyone followed his gaze as he watched Pidgey's form suddenly freeze.
I know what I'm doing, Naruto said before Pidgey released a bright, blinding light. Its form began to change, becoming noticeably larger than its previous form. Its feathers extended to be able to produce stronger winds, and a colorful set of plumage grew from its head. Its eyes became sharper along with its beak and talons. The light died down and revealed the evolved Pidgeotto. Pidgeotto! The newly evolved Pokémon screeched. Why you foresaw it evolving? Chibi asked. Naruto smirked. My Pokémon and I are friends, I know what they want, and Pidgey wanted to fight so it could evolve. Now Pidgeotto Whirlwind. Pidgeotto nodded before flapping its wings. Winds rivaling the strength of a level 3 hurricane swept up the Mantis Pokémon, sending it flying away before it was stopped by an unknown force. Fast everyone thought as they saw Pidgeotto appear behind Scyther. Now Pidgeotto, gust attack and give it all you got. Pidgeotto flapped its wings and a giant tornado that took up the entire battle area of the platform formed, nearly sucking in everyone else before it nearly died. The winds died down and Pidgeotto cooed as it watched Scyther plummet to the ground. Scyther crashed to the floor, swirls in its eyes. Pidgeotto flew down and landed on Naruto's shoulder. Chibi chuckled as he returned Scyther to its net ball. Shino stepped down from the referee's box and walked next to his father. Naruto, that was by far one of the greatest battles I have ever had with someone your age, Chibi said before reaching into his cloak pockets and pulled out a small circular badge. It was 2/3 red and 1/3 black on top. There were 3 circles of black that made a triangle formation that took up a majority of the red area of the badge. As proof of your victory over me, Chibi Aburame, gym leader of Azalea Town, I present you, Naruto Uzumaki with the Hive Badge. Chibi said as he placed the badge in Naruto's hand. Naruto jumped and hugged his new Pidgeotto, but paused when Chibi also held out a disc case. On the disc was an engraving, TM89. This is TM089, U-turn. It is a bug-type move that allows one to hit an opponent before allowing the user to switch out with any Pokémon the trainer wishes, Chibi said. Naruto bowed to the gym leader. Argiato, Chibi-san, Naruto said. Just you wait, Shinozoto-san, I'm gonna beat you in a way better than Naruto. Kiba exclaimed. Chibi chuckled as he watched Naruto walked off, getting noogied by Kiba. Shino shook his head as Naruto was raised on Akatsuchi's shoulder and Hinata was smiling at her crush. You've got a good group of friends there, Shino, Chibi said. Argiato-san. Just make sure that you get there too, I want to see you in the Pokemon League as well, Chibi told his son. Shino then walked off towards the descending platform where the others and their starters were waiting for him. Spinarak scuttled slightly across Shino's head before snapping its pincers. Don't worry, you'll get your chance, Spinarak, he told the arachnid-like Pokemon. The group then descended down to the ground floor as Chibi rearranged the gym back into its original shape. Chibi then walked over to the edge of his battle platform and smirked beneath the collar of his cloak, tapping the edge of his bug-catching net on the wooden surface. He's got determination and heart just like his mother and the practical tactician's brain like you. He may not be a genius like you were, but I'm sure you would be proud of him, wherever you are, Minato. That's it for this reading. Hit like and subscribe for a free ticket pass going to the different worlds of anime fanfiction. Looking forward to having you on board again.